Hi everybody, my name's Morgan with Allison Insurance. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about Nirvana. This will be for owner-operators, if you operate a small fleet. If you have a bigger fleet with 10 plus trucks, this video is for you. If you're an owner-operator or running a small fleet, you already know how truck insurance isn't optional. It's one of your biggest business expenses, but what if your insurance company actually understood trucking and used your driving data to reward you instead of penalize you? Today we're breaking down Nirvana truck insurance. We're going to break down what it is, how it works, what coverages it offers, pros and cons, and whether it might be a good fit for your operation. Let's get into it. Number one, what is Nirvana Insurance? Nirvana Insurance is a technology-driven commercial trucking insurance company focused primarily on the truck industry. Unlike traditional insurance companies that mostly price you based on years of business, MVRs, loss history, credit, or the vehicle type, Nirvana also uses real-time telematics and driving data to evaluate your risk. So that means speeding patterns, hard braking, falling distance, driving hours, route types. So if you're a safer driver than your profile suggests, you could potentially benefit from lowering pricing over time. Nirvana primarily works with owner-operators, small to mid-sized fleets, so you'd be considered non-fleet if you have 1 to 9 units, and then you're going to be considered a fleet if you have 10 plus trucks with 10 drivers as well. Nirvana also is operating in almost all of the 50 states. They're not quite there yet, but they do expand regularly. The second thing that we're going to talk about is what coverages does Nirvana offer. So it's going to be primarily your auto liability. So this is federally required if you're operating under your own authority. So it's going to cover bodily injury to others and property damage that you cause. So if you rear-end a vehicle and cause $250,000 in injuries and $50,000 in vehicle damages, this coverage is going to pick up. So most carriers carry the $750,000 minimum, and you'll typically see that it's more common to have the $1 million in auto liability coverage, which is going to be like your foundation of trucking insurance on a policy. They will also provide physical damage coverage, so this is going to cover the truck itself. So if you hit a deer, get yourself in an at-fault accident, experience theft or vandalism, have any hail damage, your physical damage is going to cover the cost to repair or replace your truck. So physical damage is made up of 2 coverages. You got collision and comprehensive. So an example would be your 2022 Freightliner that's worth $150,000 is totaled in an accident. If you carry physical damage with an agreed value or a stated value, the policy would pay up to that. Your policy is going to pay up to that insured value, so minus your deductible. So let's say your truck's valued at $50,000 and you have a $1,000 deductible. You pay the $1,000 out of pocket, and the insurance company is going to pay that $49,000. The third coverage that is included with Nirvana is going to be your motor truck cargo. So this covers the freight that you're hauling. If you're transporting electronics worth $200,000 and your trailer overturns, your cargo coverage would pay for the damaged goods, which is subject to exclusions and limits. So it's definitely important to read through like the exclusions on your cargo policy. Your typical limits you're going to see are going to be the $100,000 in cargo coverage, or some carriers will require the $250,000. Just higher depending on the freight type, so just depends on what you're hauling. It is important to note that certain commodities like pharmaceuticals or high theft items may require a special approval as well. The fourth coverage that Nirvana is going to offer is going to be general liability, this is a coverage that is often misunderstood. General liability does not cover auto accidents. It's going to cover non-driving related incidents, such as like someone falls or slips and falls at your yard, or damage is caused during loading or unloading, if it's not covered elsewhere. And then it's also going to cover advertising injury. So an example of this would be a shipper visits your office and trips over loose wiring, breaking their wrists. So general liability would then respond in that aspect. The fifth coverage we're going to talk about is non-trucking liability. So if you are leased onto a motor carrier and are driving without a load for personal use, this coverage applies. So an example would be you drop off a load and drive home for dinner, you get into an accident. If you're not under dispatch, your bobtail or non-trucking liability may apply. And another one is going to be trailer interchange. So if you pull trailers you don't own under a written agreement, this covers physical damage to those trailers. You may ask yourself, how is Nirvana different from other companies? But Nirvana stands out because they are telematic-based pricing. So they integrate ELD systems, GPS tracking, fleet management software, and they also use real driving data to monitor the safety trends, adjust risk models, and potentially reward safe drivers. So instead of being judged only by your past losses, your current driving behavior does matter. Another point that I do want to make clear for Nirvana is they have faster underwriting. Traditional trucking insurance underwriting can take days, it could take a week, you don't know. So Nirvana uses automation and data integrations to provide faster quotes, streamlined onboarding, digital policy management. So this can be helpful for new ventures that need coverage quickly to activate authority. And they also give the option to connect your telematics like during the application process to kind of see where you're sitting and how safe of a driver you are. So lastly, I just wanted to touch on their claims technologies. So they promote quicker claims handling using data and digital reporting tools. So in trucking, downtime equals lost money. So faster claims processes can make a big difference. Some pros and cons for Nirvana. So let's get into the pros first. It's designed specifically for trucking. It's a tech-driven pricing model, potentially rewards for safe driving. It's modern and digital platform, and it's growing national footprint. So I know they're not in all 50 states yet, but they are getting close to it. So that could be a con. Is that it's not available in every state and telematics isn't for everybody. And it's not always the cheapest upfront option, and they do have a limited appetite for certain high-risk operations. Now, you may ask yourself if Nirvana is a good fit for me. So Nirvana may be a good fit for you if you have clean driving habits, you use ELD and GPS tracking, you want a tech-forward insurance partner, run a small to mid-sized fleet, and are open to data-driven pricing. And it may not be ideal if you operate high-risk commodities, you prefer zero telematics involvement, or you have a heavy loss history. So final thoughts, truck insurance is definitely one of the biggest expenses in your operation, and it is also one of the most important protections. Nirvana Insurance is changing how trucking insurance is priced by focusing on real driving data instead of just paperwork and past mistakes. Is it perfect for everybody? No. But if you're a safety focus carrier looking for a modern insurance solution, it's definitely worth getting a quote and comparing options.